Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Wednesday, the 11th of October. I'm back after a couple of days away, and unfortunately this will be a little bit a long one because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll start with the S&P 500 that had this shoulder-like pattern that only reached 38.2 projection of the head to neckline target here at 42.21, and now yesterday and also Monday, where S&P actually closed above the neckline, it has actually kind of demolished this shoulder pattern. Will we move to an uptrend? Still a little bit hard to say, but obviously I want to see S&P closing above 4,400 to begin with, but you still have the 55 moving average coming down here. That is, excuse me, that is putting a lid on it. So the medium-term underlying sentiment is a little bit. It's actually negative, and also we have the cloud up here that will provide some resistance. We still are in a negative sentiment on the RSI, which is also adding to the bearish picture. And what we can also do, we can draw a little bit of a trend line here from these peaks and down to there. You can see it's testing it at the moment, but again it has to close above 60 to go into positive territory. The Nasdaq 100 closed just a few cents below the resistance at 15,139, around this level here. But during the process, during the session yesterday, it actually touched or almost touched the upper part of the cloud, only to be sent down. Quite interestingly, it did close the gap here, so that's interesting. We can move that one, but we are still in a bearish sentiment or negative sentiment. If it's being rejected, keep an eye on that. Will it be rejected at 60 or not, or will it collapse or be rejected there or break above? That's going to be really key here the next couple of days. Moving on to the European markets, and I have added EuroStoxx 50. 42.10, around this level we have some resistance that it seems to be holding at the moment. We also negative sentiment that there's no divergence, we could move lower. We also have 100, we have 55 moving lower, crossing over to the 200, but it is rising, so a little bit of a conflict there. But we are also below the cloud, so we are still in a bearish trend, as you can see, lower lows and lower highs, so still quite bearish there. So we need higher levels to demolish that and resume uptrend or reverse to an uptrend. DAX 15,482, around that level. There's some strong resistance, but we could still move higher towards the 15,750. It is not unlikely, but we will still be in a downtrend. However, very short term, it will be a very short uptrend here, but we have 100 moving as we have the 55 coming down, and we also have negative RSI, so still with an underlying bearish undertone really. AX back above 730, so you could argue maybe it will start building at least a short-term uptrend here, but again we need to close above the 60 down here, and there's very strong resistance at around 750, where you have the 100 moving average coming down, you have the 55 already below there, and you have an almost flat 200 moving average. The Belgian markets testing 35.55. That was the support previously. Now it's a resistance area, but it is actually these peaks here you can see about last week that could be interesting. However, again, they're similar to AEX and DAX, some strong overhead resistance. We have the 55 coming down, we have the 100 coming down, and we have the 21 also. So there's some really strong bearish underlying sentiment, and the same with the 200 up here that is proven to be a strong resistance. So I don't think we'll see Belgian market higher than 3,600 maybe and a change. But as you can see here also on the weekly, it is in a bearish trend at the moment. Also on the weekly chart. CAC 40 is bouncing a little bit, but is the worst looking of them all. today, at least, because it's in the negative territory. It is below this falling trend line. We also have the 55-100 moving average coming down. We have the RSI also below there, so still lower lows, lower highs, and so on. If it moves back below and closes this little gap here down to 7,052, then it will resume downtrend, and maybe it can have something to do with what's going on in LVMH, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, constituent in the CAC 40 index that is being sold off this morning, testing the key strong support here just around 670. You can see it here also on the weekly, very interesting, and testing this, let's expand a little bit, this longer term rising trend line here. So really key at the moment. What is interesting is at the moment, well, actually it did drop below a couple of weeks ago, the 40 threshold on the weekly, so we are in a bearish trend medium term also. You see lower lows and lower highs. It's just very key. If it takes out that level closing below, well, then there's room down to around 550 level, and let's just add horizontal line to give a little bit of idea. I'll adjust it a bit later, but around 550, 540, 37 there, with a little bit of support of the 200 weekly moving average coming up. But LVMH looks fairly heavy. It needs to close, at least take yesterday's high out if it can to reverse this bearish trend, and it doesn't look like it at the moment. Moving on to FX market, where we have the euro dollar bouncing, and I can just as well expand that. So it's actually testing the key resistance level here around 106.17, 106.35, and the upper falling trend line. We can remove this one because it actually broke below. So that will be key here the next couple of days. Can it break above the falling trend line and the 106.35? If it can, then there's room up to 107.60, 62. Cable has broken its very short-term falling trend line, rebounded 38.2 to the 123 of the latest of this leg down here. I think we will see a move up towards 124, 124 and a half ish level, 75 maybe even. But again, we have a negative sentiment on the RSI, but there was a divergence there, so we could see a move higher. So look out for that. If it breaks above the 38.2, then there's room a bit higher. The yen pairs are fairly boring at the moment. They are basically just range bound here with dollar yen 147 and 150. Expect that range to continue here for at least a while. The same on euro yen. Has been range bound for quite some time between those two levels, so not much to mention there really. Aussie yen very close to testing the 95.85 level again, so also extremely volatile, but in the bigger picture it's actually range bound. The dollar index 105.34. It is very close today, only a couple of pips from that is the key support at the moment. If it breaks below, well, expect a sell-off down to around 104.39, possibly 104 each level, where we have the 38.2 retracement, and look out for that one. But if it can hold on, we will see a little bit of a bounce again here. We might get it, but I think we will see a correction towards the 104 level. Moving on to precious metals, where we had a very solid bounce in gold since Monday morning, in the wake of the horrible war going on in Israel and Gaza Strip and all that. Bounced to 38.2, but actually very close to test the 1870. There's a little bit of resistance here. That was the support previously. I think we could see a move towards the 1895, very close to the 1900, which is this. We have the 61.8 retracement there. But look out for if we can get above that, and if we can get the RSI very close to the 60. Will it break back above and close back above the 60? Well, then it is resuming uptrend, at least short term. And you can see here, we discussed it before, previously, how important is 1800 and around 1800. Actually bounced from the 200 weekly moving average. Silver back above, back in the 22.15 area again after being sold off heavily. So also nice bounce there. If it can move back above that resistance there, then there could be a little bit upside to around 23. Copper bounced from its key support at 354.5, just a little bit above there, and now we are currently trading around the 362.70, kind of a pivot point here now. So we're still in a downtrend, and it will take a little bit more to reverse to an uptrend. At least it needs to get back above these levels here around 378, 380. But the key strong resistance it is around 382. On the energy side, a lot of stuff's going on too. We have and I think we should zoom out a little bit so we can better see it here. So here we have the WTI crude oil that reached the 78.6 retracement at you can see almost bang on 81.32, bounced down and trading around the this rising trend line here and the 38.2 retracement. Let's see if it can move higher here next couple of days. There's strong resistance at 82.20 that should be observed. Brent oil, more or less the same picture. The sell-off was a little bit deeper, but still it was above key support at 81.75, bouncing to the 38.2 retracement. Let's see if it can actually move higher, but it seems like the 55 moving average here is a little bit of a struggle. But we are still back above the cloud, so technically we are not trend, but RSI is telling you a little bit of a negative sentiment, so expect some volatility around this. And then there's been some movement in the Dutch gas and also the US gas. So here we have the Dutch TTF gas that actually finally broke above 44.80. Not that I wanted it, but that's what is happening. It tested several times. We discussed it before a couple of times. A little bit of resistance around the 50 euros, and the key one is 54.45, and we can see that why here on the weekly chart. So if it breaks above that, that's really interesting. And finally, when we're talking energy, we have Henry Hub gas that about a week ago broke above its $3, and 362, 363 around that level is the next resistance. And we also have the 200 moving average on the weekly, and the 55 coming down there. That will provide some resistance. However, as we speak, we are above the RSI 60 on the weekly, but it needs to close above. But on the daily, it indicates we will see higher levels. Finally, I will talk about the US 10 years, and here I have a little chart from Bloomberg. So currently, we are trading around the 38.2 retracement at 456. So the big question is, will it move down to the 61.8 retracement before resuming uptrend, or will it actually break below? If it breaks below the 61.8, that could be interesting, because maybe it will cancel this 5% potential picture that we have been talking about for a little while. So let's see here in the next couple of days what will happen. All right, sorry about this. It was a very long one, but I hope you stayed with me. Happy trading and have a nice day.